Welcome back to the second episode of Open Process. Tim, what did you do this time around?
Good question. So, first I went to a robot Rampage game. Effectively, it's a lot like BattleBots. It's kind of rip off BattleBots, but it's good either way. It's great. So it's a competition of robot versus robot trying to break each other. And after that, I found out that they have these build-a-bot sessions where you can build your own robot and test it out against other players. So that's what I did. What about you?
Well, in this period, I mostly focused on studying for the SAT, and I actually took it not too long ago. I'll mention the score later, obviously, but it was my first time taking tests, so I just got to know how everything works and how it goes, and obviously was nervous for the first test. So there's that.
All right, that's interesting. So, okay, you'll say the score later, but what was the experience for you? For the first time, what was the actual process? Did you do it in a place separate from your school, within your school? How was that?
Yeah, so it's not in my school. I don't think my school does it. It's a school nearby though, so I kind of knew the area. So that was nice. Surprisingly, I wasn't as nervous I was expecting it to be. Like the day before, like the week before that I was coming up to it, I wasn't nervous at all. I'm usually more nervous for schools in tests than for this SAT, even though SAT is more important. Well, I think it's more important anyways. But so you would arrive at this school. You could pick up the school that you want to go to. Okay, so starting over, sorry. You would first have to look at the College Board website where you see the SAT dates and the registration deadline to apply for them. Like you put in your name, blah, blah, address, like parent information, all that random stuff. It's kind of official. Then you pick the location you want to do it, like closest to you or like with your friends, I guess, like I did. We went to a school nearby from my school. And when you arrive, they ask for your like ticket that you get after registering. You either print it or show it in your phone. You need some sort of identification to identify you with your face and stuff, so you know it's the right person taking the test. Then you walk in, there's a bunch of classrooms. Since it's a school, they use all the classrooms there. So you just get assigned a classroom by your last name and you sit in a group. You do it on your device. Like recently, they've made it so it's only device. You can only take it on device, no paper, unlike it was before. I like it more of paper. Some people don't know why, but so we would come in, take the test. It was 32 minutes for like two sections and then 35 minutes for the other two sections. The test is split up in four sections, but more like two big sections, reading and writing, and then math. So reading and writing has two separate sections. The test works like this. If you do good on the first section, the second section is harder. If you do bad on the first section, the second section's easier. So like your score balances out. So it's not just like a set test and you get the score that you get. It can be whatever around the place. By when I was taking tests, I could tell that I got the harder second section for both because they were legit like a lot harder. I'm better in the math section than I am for the English section. So during this period, I studied more for English, but also kept up with the math. So from my practice scores, my test did go down. So my highest practice score is a 1230. The highest you could get on an SAT is a 1600. So I got 1230. I was like all right with that as like my recent studying. It was like a month before the test, so not much I could get in. And on the test, I got an 1150. So it went down by quite a bit, but first test, being nervous and all and stuff like that, it was pretty all right. And what I heard from my tutors was that the test at the beginning of the year, like August, like September, all these months, is harder because seniors are taking it like their last final test. So I guess College Board knows that and makes it harder for them. So I don't know, just works like that.
That's interesting. To have a standardized assessment or test that changes in difficulty seasonally, that's honestly quite interesting.
And also changes during the test, yeah.
That's okay. Very advanced. Well, compared
Yeah.
to New Zealand, I don't know. All right.
Are you planning to take the SAT? Since
Yeah, since I want to go most likely to a US university, like dream MIT, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I am gonna be taking SATs later. Gonna be practicing that for next year. I think it's next year. So yeah, it's I will be doing it eventually. For now, I'm busy with New Zealand school, and with that, I recently had my own standardized nationwide testing, the numeracy test, the numeracy CAA, I believe they call it. It's just a local thing. So with not as complicated as yours, it's pretty much just set questions and you have to do them. It's not that hard of a test. It's usually just a test that it's kind of to weed out the people who aren't as smart, so then later they can be placed in classes that help them with numeracy. It's just like applying
Hmm.
math to real life situations. But
Yeah.
in my opinion, on a more interesting note, Robot Rampage.
Yeah. Let's get into that.
That's fair. So with that, the competition I went to was the Nationals New Zealand versus Australia, which when I heard that, I was like, whoa, this is going to be tons of people here. It's like 40 people in a relatively medium-sized, I wouldn't like a garage storehouse in like the backwater of Auckland. I don't even know. It was surprising, but also great. So, what's interesting, I remember watching similar robot battles. Yeah, so I remember watching Robot Rampage on Netflix ages ago. It was not New Zealand, it was American, so bigger stadium, more people, bigger robots, etc. Everything's better in a bigger country where there's more money to put into them. Of course, so with that, I was surprised to see the exact same robot arena. So they've standardized a robot arena. And what's interesting is they actually have a heavy metal bolt that they put into the door. Like the door is like heavy duty, so it's actually an entirely closed off space so that the
Mhm.
audience doesn't literally get, well, not killed, but like badly hurt. These are big robots whose
Oh
entire
yeah,
bodies
battle
tear each other
bots make
apart.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. And with that, the battle went well. New Zealand, it was so for nationals, they do a 5v5 where each team has five of their own robots that after every match of two robots, the winner gets to pick whether they keep that same robot in or and repair it. They have like a 6 minute repair time, or they swap it out for a different bot. And that means that that bot that they swapped out now has to be relegated to a later match. It can't be swapped in immediately after soon. So it's a
Hmm.
whole setup, a bunch of rules, just for a variety of purposes, mostly so you can't just be cycling with like two robots or something. You have to get all of your robots involved at some point. With that, I also only realized after I went to the event, but after I searched it up a little, technically the New Zealand and Australia teams are five teams with five robots combined into a single team operating together on these robots. So it's kind of weird in that way. That was really interesting. So yeah, and then of course I went to the Build-A-Bot session.
How was the Builder bot? Like the obviously the battle seems fun and everything. You saw
Yeah,
robots fight out to the death, I think.
yeah. To
Well,
the
before we get to the Builder thing, was there any interesting strategies or robots or events that happened in the fights?
yeah, there was one event and one really cool robot in my opinion. So for a good chunk of the actual battle or battle section, I was thinking, why do all of these robots have a singular weapon on one, like on the front? Most of them do have that typical standard. Couldn't you just make a robot where the entire outer casing is the weapon and it spins? That means there's nowhere to attack from. And then they bring a robot that does exactly that. They call them full body spinners there, I believe. That's the name for the category. And they're not that common because effectively, when your robot is spinning around, it's A, difficult to move it while also spinning it. And B, it's also, if you get hit and it's spinning and then it hits a wall, that makes it way more likely for it to knock something out of position and stop operating. It That did happen on the second match.
Mhm.
I believe it was the wire got slightly knocked out of the battery, which meant that it was going really slowly and quickly losing battery for that chunk of the match, which made it lose and have to get replaced, etc.
Yeah.
So, and the
Well,
whole event, a completely other robot got set on fire
wow,
unintentionally.
okay.
So, two robots against each other. The one with that got set on fire, pretty bulky bot, but it had a relatively weak layer of metal on top of its batteries, and they weren't well
That's
secured.
a bad idea. I don't know why they
Yeah,
did
well, it
that.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't thought that you could reach that because it's a tall enough bot. But no, the other robot brings down a its weapon almost directly onto the batteries, setting them ablaze. Wonderful.
Wow.
With that, everyone is, after a couple minutes of the fire, rushed out of the building, not because anything else is on fire, just because the fire is producing enough smoke from a lithium ion battery. Lithium ion? No, lead battery. Worse. So people don't want to breathe in that smoke. That's not good.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
It's like
healthy.
toxic and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they actually bring in a huge, like, I believe it's almost half a meter wide metal tube that they put on top of the robot, and they just attach a vacuum to it, like a vacuum system, which just takes all of the smoke out directly outside, facing away from the people, so that it's getting all that smoke out from the inside. It was like a huge amount of almost pure white smoke. I don't know what that was.
Oh,
Very
pure white is, yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
it doesn't seem quite good. Like black, gray, I can imagine that's from a typical fire, but pure white smoke and that much of it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't trust that.
Yeah, and later when they took that robot outside, it was just it almost looked like a crime scene because they taped it off and there were just two people picking at the corpse of this burnt robot, which was a surreal sight in of its own, but that was during the break I got to see that. So,
Was
two
that like a last match where the robot
uh
just like ended it all, or was
no,
that?
no, yeah, it was in a middle match, roughly halfway through.
And so the
Yeah,
team just proceeded with four robots left.
yeah, pretty much. I
On,
believe
yep.
the other team was already also down to four robots because one was badly knocked around. So it was mostly fair, but still interesting.
Pretty even, but one got on fire and the other one just stopped working. Yep. Okay. Well, going to the build a bot thing, how did that go? Seems fun. I would want to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Building
So
a battle bot, just
yeah,
like imagine.
it's in the same location, everything same because it's just the Auckland Robot Rampage place. It's their location here. So with that, you go there and they give you 20 tokens. I don't have one to show at the moment, but they're little just black metal circles with the Robot Rampage logo on them. And what you do is you have some basic components. You have a basic weapon module, which is just a module with a spinner with a spinning part on the end where you can connect a weapon and either put it vertically so the weapon spins like this, or horizontally so the weapon spins like this, either on top or on the bottom of the robot. We went for
Yeah.
bottom for our design. Then there's two wheel modules, just a small module with an attachment place for a wheel at the end. And finally, a control module that connects those together so that you can connect that module up then to your controller, and also needs to be protected because it's got all the wires. You might want to figure out a way to protect that. And with your 20 tokens, you get a choice. Effectively, there's a bunch of huge boxes, and in each of them, there's a ton of wheels of different sizes and different grades of beaten up, because all the parts cost one token, but the idea is that since these parts are constantly reused, a bunch of the wheels are at that point almost ready to crumble in your hands, which isn't that great for a robot.
Okay.
So it was kind of a scramble when we first got allowed to with the
Like
token.
everyone should looking for the good wheels and
Yeah,
stuff where
the best wheels, while also taking into account whether they want small ones or big ones or whatever it is.
yeah.
And there's three options of weapon: a small blade, a long blade, and then a. It's kind of like a this shape. It's a unique shape, but it's what they use usually for a heavy spinner. So it's got usually more power to it, but less range. So you need to get
Yeah.
closer to the other robot, but deal hopefully more damage if you position it right. And finally, just a ton of varied shapes of metal brackets, which can be used for anything you want. Anything you can attach them onto the robot, go ahead. Everyone gets,
You could like bend them however you want and
yeah,
stuff like that.
bend them, cut them, whatever. You can also bend and cut the wheels if you want, do whatever with them.
Oh,
They're
so
like,
you had like
yeah,
you had a limited amount of parts, but you could customize it however you want.
true.
So you could
A
really do
limited
anything.
Yeah, yeah. Limited modules, which you can't really change. They're like heavy duty. They're standardized, so you effectively don't want to damage them. So a couple modules that you can't do much with, and then a ton of parts you can do anything with. They're not that huge, so some of the parts you needed to use a bunch of parts to make a larger chunk of the robot. We went basic because it was just me, my mom, and my dad, and we didn't have that much experience with any of this. So
Yeah.
we built a robot with a horizontal long bar spinner on the bottom and two wheels at the back. And it actually, since the spinner, the weapon, actually has a couple of little brackets below it, it we balanced on the weapon and the wheels at the same time, which actually worked very well. Like a bunch of other robots did the same. It works pretty well. The only downside with having the spinner on the bottom is that your wheels have to be far away enough from it. We went with a pretty compact design in that way and managed to close off the back with a mix of a couple parts and masking tape, which we were allowed to use. So why not?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's good at keeping the wires flat to the body, so we used it for that mostly. And then finally, we managed to arm the edges of the wheels with a little bit of armor there to defend them, because all of the horizontal floor spinners like us, our goal is effectively to damage our opponent's wheels as much as we can, because we're at that level.
Yeah.
We're unlikely to damage the body, because the wheels are the lowest part.
So they can't move, yeah.
True. And because if you don't move for 10 seconds with the 10-second countdown, congratulations, you're out, the other bot wins. And there was kind of like a finalist style, like go down from eight teams, so 16 teams, 8 on one side, 8 on one side, to 4, to 2, to one final winner. So it was that, and we won our first match, and we lost our second match. Wonderful. So
Unlucky, yeah.
50% winning streak. So with that,
I mean,
not the worst, so it's fine.
yeah.
In our first match, what we did was we managed to knock off the wheel of another robot, and then I accidentally also drove into the wheel, knocking it even further away, which was a bit of salt in the wound for the other team, unintentional,
Yep.
but funny. And then in the next match, the other robot managed to graze our wires enough to knock one out, and
Oh,
we also weren't charged enough. We didn't fully charge up the robot. We didn't have enough time. So it ended
the
up.
silly mistake, bro. Not charging your robot.
We did charge it, but for some reason, at some point, the wire may have disconnected and not charged it for the rest of the time, and we didn't notice. So, okay, unfortunate. So that's what
Yeah.
happened there at Build a Bot.
Building stuff, so I would really want to attend that. Any other details that you have?
I mean, not a lot. It was. I mean, there were actually a couple interesting designs there as well. There was one that they attempted a vertical spinner because most people went for horizontal or heavy horizontal. It wasn't. There were a couple of verticals, but the main vertical that was next to us, they called it Dropout, and most teams had a name for their robot. They over-engineered it, so they over-added too much metal to the point that
Yeah.
their head, they painted it to, well, not painted it, they sharpied it to make it look like a dog head. So the blade was on a head connected to the main body, and they connected it with bars of metal, but it wasn't. So for balance, it was interesting. So instead of the two back wheels and then two brackets, like little legs for the dog. But anyway, it was not sturdy enough. And in their very first match, they got, shall we say, wrecked, obliterated. I don't know how best to
Yeah.
describe it. The other robot with a horizontal spinner, so vertical spinner, horizontal spinner, hit off and the head cut off the head of their robot effectively.
Oh.
It looked like a head anyway. So
Oh.
leaving from the main body, from this position, it got stuck in this position, hanging awkwardly with the wire disconnected and a few highly bent brackets of metal barely holding on. So
Oh my God.
that was entertaining.
Brutal.
Yeah, they had to completely redesign it. They still went for vertical, but they greatly simplified the design because it was
Yeah.
not working. Unfortunate for them, it looked like a really cool robot, but sometimes looks are definitely not everything when your goal is
Yeah.
to be functional. And in this case, functional means durable and attacking all the other robots effectively. So, well, they tried.
For the competition that after the building, was there any prize or was it just bragging rights like I won a BattleBots thing?
I believe it was there. It was mostly bragging rights, but I believe they did add. It was like a little mini certificate, like "Congrats, you won." Nothing.
Wow.
No big prize, because again, people.
No money related stuff, not like a
Yeah, no,
$20 gift card to Starbucks. No,
no,
nothing like
not
that.
really. I think there was like
Oh.
something like a gift card, because like during their main events, they always have a snack bar. So I think it was like something like a gift card or a 50% off or something like a coupon for that snack bar. I think there might have been
Hmm.
something like that. I don't remember if we stayed long enough to see the winners because there was a ton of matches even after ours. And unfortunately, if you lose your second match, not your first one, you're not eligible for what they call grudge matches, is when you put two robots that lost in their very first match up against each other. because, well, they got beat straight away and now they have a grudge. It's more of a fun thing because
Well,
while
yeah, you still get another fight, so
and get
it's
another fight to try again. I
yeah,
believe, yes, our neighbors on the table, by the way, the ones I was talking about before, drop out after their complete overhaul of that same robot. I believe they did win their grudge match successfully. Like, good job to them. Redesigned their robot, and they did well. It's
yeah,
I'm not remembering exactly how because it was probably one of the many victories that were very similar in the way that one robot either got stuck or stopped functioning, and it was a like I wouldn't call it a boring win, but less interesting than getting set on fire or getting your all your wheels knocked off
yeah, yeah,
or having your weapon turn off halfway through a fight and then being obliterated. Like those are a little bit more interesting. Just saying.
yeah.
So
Well, yeah, that basically just like rip off of BattleBots. I would want to go. I don't know if they have it in my area, but
well, you could
I
search.
would, yeah,
Yeah.
I could. Okay. So the main thing that I changed between between before and then the time I was studying was I got a tutor for the English section, a tutor for the math section. So I got like both sides and they taught me like the different parts to it. For the English section, there's multiple like subsections. There's like to answer this text that you have to read to continue. There's text and charts that you have to connect and then answer the question. And then there's just symbol vocabulary stuff. And at the end, there's questions where it's like, this kid took notes on this, and he wants to describe the book in this way. What is the best fit answer from the notes that you could pick? Those are the easiest ones. There's obviously many different strategies for both, which is what the tutors were for. They taught me those. Obviously, I have more to learn based on my score, but yeah, so I'd be continuing that. But if I didn't have tutors, the best way I would study would use obviously some app like or website like Khan Academy. Most popular one that everybody probably uses. They have all like the subjects there and SAT. And also for College Board, you could take practice SAT. Like for example, in my school, like the last couple of years, there's a PSAT. Like you take it in school, it's like the same format. You walk in, they take your phones and stuff, so you can't cheat. And then you take it. It's called a PSAT. But then on College Board, you could take a practice PSAT and a practice SAT. SAT, obviously 1600 score. PSAT, I think it's like 1500 or a bit more, but not 1600. So I was taking the practice PSATs to just like build up. And then recently I took like before the test, I took like at least maybe 10 practices and my score kept getting higher and like towards the end. So I was happy with that. I mean, I'm relatively happy with the score that I got on the actual one. First test, like not bad, not below 1,000, which is what I think would be bad, but not super great. So right in the middle, average. So yeah, there you go.
I mean, good job. I believe you'll improve. Again, that's kind
Hmm.
of obvious. There's plenty of space for improvement and definitely
Yeah.
should be able to. With that, by the way, you mentioned took away our phones because no cheating. I wish it was that simple for my, like, the test, the numeracy CAA I did. So they took away phones, I mean, obviously, or put it in your bag, leave it outside. That's an obvious. Next thing, your water bottle must be transparent or you can't take it in because if it's transparent that they can see that there's no notes that you could have hidden on it, which again I
Wait, what?
think it's
They're that strict about that?
definitely think it's a rule that was probably entered because like two or three students did that one time and they got like way too good scores. Probably the reason. Honestly, funny that your water bottle, I must see the entirety of your water bottle with a single glance or you fail.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, not fail, but
Oh
you.
yeah, for the SAT, like I said, it changes. So there's no point of having notes unless it's just to remember like strategies or something. But the phone thing is the main problem because we're in a lockdown browser, so you literally can't do anything else on your computer. So it's just the test until you're done, and then you go. So you could have a water bottle and stuff and food too. So it was like there was that freedom. Fill your water bottle. It's crazy.
So
Like
actually,
having it's like having clear backpacks at a concert or something like.
sure. With that, actually, I wanted to ask, how long does it take to do an SAT, or how long did it take you?
So obviously there's obviously the longest time, which is the base time, which I think is around 2 hours and 30 minutes would be the maximum. I think I took it in less. My friends took it even more less. I don't know what the word, I kind of just said that very wrong, but whatever. So yeah, So
All
there you
right.
go.
Yeah. I mean, makes sense. I've been told that there was actually quite a lot of individual questions. I don't know exactly how many because I wanted to ask that.
Individual. What do you mean by individual?
Like there's sections of questions. I mean, within a section there's questions. How many of those are there?
Oh, for math, it is 22 per half, and then for English, it's 27.
So
Wait, or yeah.
so in total there is how many questions around?
So 44 plus 54, so 98.
All right.
Is that math? That's not math,
Yeah,
right?
getting
Okay.
into math, kidding. But yeah, okay, 98. That's quite a lot.
Yep, and it obviously changes, so yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I see why
I
that's a
think
big
that's,
deal. I see why
yeah.
SATs are a big deal. If it's a fluctuating number and difficulty of questions, if you do well on one, then that means you're getting harder questions. It fluctuates within the year how difficult it is. It's more difficult in this period of time because there are seniors doing it. That's something.
Assess and then to also do at the same time, yeah. To
Yeah,
think about, there's a lot of things that go into the thing. So, yeah.
I mean, congrats. Good job on being able to manage all of that. I have that ahead of me. Well,
I think you'll do great. It's not, like I said, I was surprised that I wasn't as nervous as I was expecting to be because it's a bigger test than anything you take at school. So,
hopefully it'll be fine. I mean, I am
yeah.
doing a lot of preparation for that and for stuff in school and to get ahead in math so then I can do next year. Basically, next year I'm working to do accelerate math, but I didn't do accelerate math this year, so I need to work extra and do almost all of the work that I missed to catch up with the accelerate
Hmm.
class. So it's a whole thing. I just need to get into accelerate math so I can manage to have finished calculus by the time I apply to universities because they often require that. It's a whole thing. Doing well with that, going good so far. Going to be doing a lot of that these holidays that I'm now in. And with that, yes, probably going to be starting to prepare for SATs next year. Oh boy, a lot of
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, good luck with preparing in the next couple of years. It's
Thank you.
pretty tidy, pretty hard work, especially with school and between everything. So,
Good.
yeah,
I mean,
I think that's it.
yeah, just to wrap up, that was great. We talked about your SAT and my Robot Rampage event and then Build-A-Bot event.
Yeah.
Great time so far. That all
Yeah.
nice events. Probably tons of stuff coming up. We'll see what that's all about. See you next time.
See you in the next episode.